Welcome to another episode of Patch It. I am Raul. This time around, we're going to be doing a Patch It segment. For those of you who are familiar with this segment, you're probably looking at this kind of setup going, hey, it's a little bit smaller than usual. For those of you who haven't, let me just kind of explain a little bit. This is the Patch It segment, and what we do here is we just kind of do sort of free form, improvisational type patching without sort of a set plan here ahead. I'm tentatively calling this the 10-gallon patch, partly because I'm from Texas, and second because I couldn't think of another name right off the hand. So at any rate, that's what we're going to be calling this patch. We're going to be kind of exploring how you can kind of create sort of a free-form, sort of ongoing, self-perpetuating type patch. And we're going to just build it from the ground up using these modules that we have here in front of us. So just to kind of do like a little quick check of what's involved right now, we have a Plan B, Model 24, Heisenberg generator, one of my favorites, a Moleco wired Borg filter, first edition. I can't remember if this is the Borg 1 or the Borg 2, but it's the one with the white knobs, in case you're wondering. We have a Maths. We have a noise ring, again by Moleco, and this is the Gargoyles edition noise ring. And then we have the Hertz Donut, Mark II. And then over on the far left, we have a Swayman, I think that's how you say it, RG6 random generator. Up on top, we have a Brains and a Pressure Points. These two modules are by Make Noise. We have a Subconscious Studios, Plan B, model, I believe it's 37. Yes, that's right. Trying to get all my names right so I don't mislabel someone. And then the DynSync ModSeek, fairly unique sequencer. We have another Make Noise module called the Echophone. Very nice, cool delay. Topo Brio multi-filter, one of my favorites with the 4 different kinds of filters. The Grindle Formant filter, version 1, also another cool little filter. We have a Make Noise Optomix over here on the right. And then we have a 4MS shuffling clock multiplier and a Pittsburgh ADSR. So that's what's going to be involved here as we're kind of creating this patch. But ultimately our goal is going to be to kind of fill our Submix 7 over here, our low gain Submix 7, with 7 inputs from some kind of stuff we kind of put together over here. And then also we're going to be using the Optomix as sort of a mixer as well. I'm taking the sum out over here, and so I'm going to be piping in 2 audio inputs up here, and then kind of putting it all together and see where that takes us. So without further ado, here we go, just kind of jumping right into the patching. We may spread this across a few segments, so I may go for about 15 minutes and then sort of stop, and then we'll go into part 2 and part 3 and part 4. So just so you're aware, if this is the first time you're watching. So to start out, why don't we start with one of our random modules. I'm just grabbing a couple patch cables over here, and we'll just kind of start from there. I'm not sure if I want to start with the Swayman or the noise ring, but since the noise ring is closer to me and my patch cable is already there, let's start there. So I'm going to take one of the random outs, which I can either go with 1 or 2, and I'm just going to patch out. And I'm going to take that up into my Hertz Donut, I believe. Yeah, looks good. It's right next door. So we'll just take it into the 1 volt per octave right there. And then the noise ring actually fires according to the rate on this clock. So we're going to be using this to kind of fire. So I'm going to take the clock out, and I may need a little more flexibility from here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a special cable over here. I may need this clock for something else, so kind of preparing. So I'm going to patch that out here, and I'm going to go up into my shuffling clock multiplier, and there you can kind of see a little bit of activity over there. I'm going to bring my clock rate down a little bit. But basically this is my clock going out, and then I'm going to use this clock output here. I may just use another stack cable because who knows how many times I might want to mult that clock. So I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to go over to my Maths channel 1 trigger in, and you can see a little bit of activity there, which means it's firing an envelope on mask, and I can kind of adjust, you know, the decay right there if I want to. So over at my Hertz donut, I'm going to take the output from the VCO1 down here at the bottom, the primary out, and I'm going to feed that over into my VCA so we can get our first little hint at sound. And I may tweak this patch as we go along if I decide I want to put some delay on it or something like that. So I'm going to go up into here, and we should hear a little sound. Okay, so I'm just going to tweak that until I get kind of a sound that I kind of like. So just get a nice little tone that I like. Okay, now I'm going to take my maths envelope right here, and actually I'm going to prepare for this, and yeah, I'll just take a mult from here, and then go into the control. Hopefully this will reach. Yeah, let me bring this down a little bit. There we go. It's kind of nice and subtle. So that's where we're starting right there. And it's just kind of unquantized notes. Fair warning, there is no quantizer here in case you're noticing this. So if you're a fan of quantized notes, there probably is not going to be very many of those going on here. So just telling you up front. So we got this going into our low pass gate over here. And I actually want to do something with the sort of pulse or square out from there as well. I'm not sure where I'm going to take this yet. Let's go into our Borg filter. Another nice low pass gate / awesome filter. So we're going to take that, and I'm not sure where I'm going with that yet, but let's just take it out. Go over here to our submix. I'm going to adjust my cutoff here a little bit until I get a tone I like on that second one. So I'm turning it closer to HP or high pass. Right there I'm turning the resonance up. I'm just looking for kind of a very Formanty type sound. And I know I have the Forman filter, but we'll get to that in a sec. Okay, that's kind of different. Yeah, let's stick with that. Okay. Now, let's kind of take our other maths envelope and send it somewhere else. Let's see, we have our 1 volt per octave going over there, so why don't we actually just kind of jump right into some craziness and patch this envelope over into the external rate of our noise ring. So that should kind of cause it to speed up here once I bring this up a little. Adjust my chance and change settings. You can hear the tones that are going over into the Hertz donut have changed a little bit. That's probably outside the range of the Hertz donut. So let me adjust the pitch. Okay, so far so good. Now, this is kind of a very static sound, so I want to kind of spice it up a little bit. I'm going to actually take my out here. And you can tell that other one's pretty mellow, as mellow can be. Let me unpatch that. I may need this for something else, so let me leave that out. I'm going to take my out from my Borg filter and go into my echophone delay. There we go. And then let me take the mix out. Try this over to this. Maybe this will spice this up a little. That's nice. Okay, so our Borg is going over here, kind of going into our delay. Alright, and let me unpatch this, and we'll figure out something to do with that envelope here in a second. So right now I have it going into noise ring. It's not really doing that much over there, so I'm going to unpatch that. Let's just try going into our Borg filter. There we go, that's a little bit nicer. Okay, so we're off to a good start here. And we do have a second oscillator over here in a Hertz donut. Or VCO, I should say. But I haven't decided what I'm going to do with that yet, so let's not jump the gun yet. But I do know that I want to do something and maybe get some kind of formanty thing going on, so let's see. Let me take this out for a moment and patch this out over into our input of the multi-filter. And then patch this right there. So I'm basically taking this and going to two places right here. My pulse or square wave is going over to my Borg filter, and then the other one is going over into my input of my multi-filter. And I'm going to patch this out. I'm not sure which one I want, but let's start with the notch, and then we'll just kind of hear how that sounds. Sounding. Bring this rate down. Adjust my echophone a little. Increase my feedback a little on my echophone. Correctly, I tended to get a little bit better sounds from triangular saw waves going into the echophone. So let me try something here. I'm going to grab a stack cable and actually take a second output from there. So I'm unpatching that temporarily. Out there. Then I'm going to go, let's see, over here. Go. And then still want it to go over to my Optomix, so let me patch that out. Okay, so my mix out is going here. I'm going to turn this down for a second. Really fine tune my delay sound. Nice kind of flangey sound. just what I want. Yeah, that's better. A little more out there. I'm going to bring this up a little bit. That's my multi-filter there. Okay, now we're going to have to pause in a moment, but I want to go just a couple more patches. So what I want to do is I want to take the first output from the noise ring, and then I want to take that random out and maybe trigger the volt per octave of the multi-filter. And just so I can kind of tease out this sound, I'm going to bring this down for a moment. Bring this down for a moment. Just tweaking the balance there. That's nice. Okay, let me bring this back up. So nice, in fact, that I think I want to mult that as well. So I'm going to unpatch my notch filter. Take the notch out. And then go into feedback in. Basically bringing this back out and feedbacking into that. Might get a little unruly, so we might have to adjust that a little. There we go. Okay, so far so good. Okay, I know I said one more patch, but I'm going to do one more thing, and then we'll kind of stop for a moment and then pick up in a little bit. So let me take this envelope that we had over here, and I'm just going to go into the key end of my board filter. This is just an experiment. I just want to hear what it sounds like. I just know I can get some very nice kind of flippy sounds from the resonance from this filter. And let me just figure out where everything's going. Okay, right there. Back in. So we actually have the same envelope going to 2. Not sure if I like that. Let's try just to the key. Let me try it by turning that off. Going back to this instead. Let's see. Maybe what I had originally, but kind of brought me back to this. Okay. So that's going to be our stopping point for this first episode. We made a little bit of progress getting our first 2 inputs going. once we get this a little more fleshed out, we'll kind of go a little further and start getting some really crazy, kind of interesting sounds, hopefully. So hopefully you'll stay tuned for that. Thank you very much for watching this segment of the 10-gallon patch. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.